All right, we're on. We're on. So I'm back in the US and it is cold. I don't know how y'all do it. I was just talking to my friend, like, this is craziness. It's craziness. I think the more time I spent not going through winter just makes winter all the more rougher. But I'm very excited to be spending more time in the US this year. We got some really just amazing deals. And so, one of the reasons that I'm spending more time in the US is there's just a lot more offline businesses. I think a lot of y'all know last few years, um, this internet has been interesting. I've been doing a lot of offline, but I think people have been talking about this mad rush of baby boomers, the wealth transfer, all that stuff. And we're starting to see a lot of those deals and just in general. I mean, I would say it's still half and half. We're speaking to somebody today who is, not nowhere near, is really young. It's built an amazing business and that we're helping them to exit. And even in that case, I just think there's just a lot of transactions where people are ready to exit. There are people ready to buy, and so it's pretty even on both sides. Which that's a great place to be because most of the time we're in a different kind of recession. People are like rushing for the door. There are very few buyers. But I feel like we're in a very balanced market. It's not doesn't seem to be too much of a buyer's market. It's not too much of a seller's market, which is honestly where I like to play. All right, so let's jump in. In the title, I put meet Marcus Lemonis. If you don't know who that is, he had a TV show. If you're a deal maker, you gotta watch. You gotta watch. He traveled around the country, meeting potential business owners. He would make them a deal, and it's really interesting. I think, when that show was out, I was mostly like buying businesses, but I think now I'm doing a lot more investing in deals. So either investing in existing business, helping them prepare to exit, taking equity in other deals, just doing more equity based things. And so that's what Marcus was doing. Now, what he did say, which is, I had no idea. It's like from those deals, he actually lost like $50 million, like net. So when you take how much he made from some of the deals that went well and how much he lost, and then like there are some lawsuits. He went through a lot for that show. And one of the things that I just have always has have what I learned was the case. Even as I did my larger fund, what I realized, and what birthed the private equity fund incubator, which shout out to the amazing team in Peffy 7. I'm just, I continue to be amazed and excited by the level of talent that we're able to attract to the incubators. But the thing that was very interesting, as I got into a larger fund, was like, you've got this dichotomy, right? So if you've got whatever $12 million, let's say, to deploy, you want to get a good amount of leverage on that. So you want to buy probably about $30 million worth of assets. If you're buying that many assets, you want to buy larger businesses. And the biggest downside to larger businesses is that you're getting them at a much higher multiple. You start to have to either compete, you have to compete for the larger deals against private equity firms, and those are very, very stable, but they're willing to pay a 10x for the great businesses, or you're buying a bunch of small deals. And so he was doing a bunch of these small deals, and I had way just low percentage of the number of deals that he was doing and the amount he was putting in. But with those small businesses, you're getting them at a really amazing deal, an amazing multiple, but there are a lot of headaches. And you can see some of the headaches that he dealt with each one of those businesses. Now, if you're doing that with 50 businesses, like it is a complete nightmare. Now, on the other end, I think it's super powerful when you can concentrate efforts, you can put your talents into 2 or 3 deals. I think it would have been very much a different story for him if he was putting all that effort into 3 deals, but that would not have made for good TV. So yeah, The Profit is the name of the show. Definitely check that out if you haven't. And it's almost like a one-man Shark Tank where he's going in and making these deals on the ground at the business, and you get to see him fix the business up and all that. We'll go through a couple of these and jump in. Will says, Leslie, yes, he absolutely is. You can definitely ask questions. All right, so I want to get into one of the things that was brought up by Marcus, which will lead me into kind of some interesting strategies that we're discussing in the Patreon. All right, so feel free to plug in questions. Be sure to like if you have not liked it already. It's late night. What else you got to do? What are you doing with your fingers over there? Like, why aren't you using your finger to hit the like button? It makes me question, like, what are you doing? All right. So one of the things that Marcus said to a buddy of mine was, a friend of mine, was that he doesn't um, invest in the public market. So, just like not an investor really at all, like in the public market. And my friend afterwards was asked me, I guess it was yesterday. It's like, so what do you like? What do you think about that? Like, obviously, you're doing these strategies in the public market, and so what do you think about that? And we have some really unique strategies. So, I'll talk about both sides. First of all, just absolutely correct. Like when I look at, even because I will still play in the market individually just because I enjoy it. And then we sell options and we sell puts and calls within the companies that we acquire for income. So I'll talk about um, those kind of why, for somebody who knows me, you're like, well, like if you agree with him that you should be in the public market, then like why are where how do those two things go together? And when you compare the public market to just owning a business, there are just all of these tax benefits which you get by being a small business owner, and it's not anything that's even super aggressive. Like obviously there are things that people get upset with Trump, and it's like, oh, he didn't pay taxes. Like, yeah, but he was literally doing it the legal way. It wasn't as if there's something illegal going on. And so when you're a individual who's investing in the stock market, the biggest downside to that is the taxes. You're like, everything is being tracked. There are very few write-offs, and you're just getting, if it's capital gains, especially if you're a short-term trader, the capital gains on that, like people don't talk about that side of like, how much they're paying in taxes. So even just and that is the largest expense. So you can't just ignore that when it comes to your margins and the income and the upside that you're going to get for the amount of work that you put into something. So you compare that to all of how much more of your money you get to keep in the by owning or investing that money into a business, and there's just no comparison. Now, on the other end, I love using the stock market within the companies that we buy. So, we have a strategy within the Holdco program. We just had a Patreon call that we just wrapped up, which is why I was like, I'll jump on YouTube. So it was just a good vibe, that kind of thing. So, one of the things that I love is, if we acquire a company and we're going to use it as a platform company typically one of the SVPs that will create is one that basically invests in the stock market, some of the capital from the business that we're acquiring that they're generating. um, I don't want to really risk my own capital, but if that money's already been counted towards the profit and we're putting it into a SVP, special purpose vehicle, then we have already gotten credit for that money in the whole co, and now we're generating money from this SVP by selling these options. So I don't want to really go into all the strategy. I want to make sure the Patreon's getting the benefit for that, but I do want to talk about just the like five different strategies of what that looks like. So I talked about one before when I was talking about this call that we just had. And one of the things is if it's a very simple strategy and you're teaching the person that you're selling your business to how to um, use a strategy, which like obviously, we're doing it. So I'm teaching the folks in the Patreon, like, okay, this is how you prove to somebody like, no, this isn't just a side thing. It's like, yeah, it's like 10% of income, but that gives you a 10% bonus in the form of a 3 or 4 multiple of the income that's coming from this SVP. And so we're generating income 3 different ways from the capital that's in that SVP, basically leveraging the market. So the number one thing, the way that you're like making money off of this is by having a higher valuation, right? But the second thing is where you can get capital from. So with each special purpose vehicle that you create, which this would be one of them, you have a new option on getting capital from your holdco or getting capital from one of your SVPs, whether that's in the form of selling equity to somebody, getting a loan with a lien against those. And so it gives you more options. The second thing is, or third thing is, I love that in those SVPs that have a trading account, you can get access to capital in the form of margin. So you're selling these puts, you're creating income, getting dividend income, you're selling these calls, you're getting income, and that's going into your SVP, but you can increase the amount of capital that you're generating income off of from by getting access to the margin account. The fourth is you when you invest in the SPV, we structure it in a way where it's basically a note, and you can end up selling that note, and five, you can borrow against that note. So you got all five of these different things that create value in the private business investing arena, leveraging the public market. So wanted to give y'all throw out some of those things. We're talking about some really just neat strategies, man, in the Patreon. If you're not in there, check it out. Patreon.com/Ace Chapman. What's up? All right, we had the bull come in. We got what would you suggest for people that are just starting out and smaller deals are necessary? Do smaller deals. Yeah, do smaller deals, man. Like my first deal, I had $3,000 that I saved up working in the summer. So I only had 3 grand, so that was all I had. Now the other thing is you can start to raise capital. You can get your credit right if it's not. And one my favorite form of capital right now is SBA. It's nuts. Like you can do some amazing deals with SBA. And we've got folks in the HOCO program where we're helping them with the down payment even. So some cool things you can do there. But the most important thing is getting started. And I've said this before here, but if you've ever worked or had somebody pitch you as a financial advisor, one of the things that they will show you initially is by if you wait to by investing today, here's how much money you're going to make over the next 30 years, whatever. If you wait just 1 year, this is how much it's going to be. And it's like a drastically lower amount. And that's because of obviously compounding, blah, blah, blah. But the important key there is like they're basing things off of like an average of 8, 9%. And like every year just cuts down the amount of income you're going to have like retirement age by a tremendous amount of money. Now, what if those percentages instead of 8% was 33, which is the average multiple that you're buying a business at? You know, if you're buying it at 3 multiple, you're literally getting a 33. Now, ideally, you're getting more than that, but just at a minimum. So that means like, you know, almost every month that you're waiting, there's this tremendous impact on your long-term net worth. Tim says, I never got the link. I don't know what link you're talking about. If you're in the Patreon and you're talking about the link to the call tonight, it's in the Patreon. Everybody was on. But it was recorded, so we'll have it uploaded. So no worries, no worries. And then we're actually going to do a part 2. So for any of your Patreon folks, that will be in the Patreon, and we actually have a part 2 coming. Oh, I just realized I thought it said Tom at first. Sorry, Tim. I was like, yeah. What is up, Janine? What's up? What's up? Emmett, what's up, man? This is one of my homies. Man, we go all the way back. I think maybe fourth grade, dude. What's up, man? Yeah, I'm actually be in chat soon, so I'll definitely hit you up. The bull says, yeah, I've been looking into SBA. Yeah, that it's a great place to get access to capital when you're getting started. So the real key there is like, you know, once you have like, I don't really do SBA personally anymore. I've done 4 like when I was younger. But once you have a certain amount of assets, it doesn't make sense because they want like these blanket liens that you're just putting everything at risk. It just doesn't make sense. Um, so you want to avoid it once you you know, just get to a certain point. The other side though is like when you're when you're young and you don't have much of anything, like because you're saying like you know you're basically at a point where you would need to do something small, whatever. Number one, you can get a much bigger deal than you'd be able to get with anything else because you're getting a high amount of leverage. But number two, you don't have anything to risk. So you can get more money and you have less assets that they're trying to put a blanket lien against. So that creates a just a cool dynamic. All right, we got Miss Jayla Thomas. What's up? Billionaire Blacks in the building. You're awesome. I certainly appreciate that. And shout out to y'all. I'm actually excited to hang out with y'all, and I'm in Tennessee as well. And love the designs and the clothing y'all are putting out. Some cool stuff. All right, let's get back. Let's get back to work. I got to wrap up a couple of things before I turn it in for the night. Everybody have a good evening. Thanks for popping in. Another event coming up soon in Miami. I'll be talking about that and some other cool things that are coming up. Lots and lots happening. Talk to y'all soon.